What episode we at, guys? We're at 237. How time flies. You can see and you can decide who's the better looking Jas Takhar or Jas Oberoi. He has a beautiful smile. You're making a lot of noise in the real estate business.
If somebody's making less than $100,000, yes, they will qualify for your mortgage help. But on the other side, they will say, sorry, you can't buy anything because your income doesn't qualify.
There needs to be a change.
When elections comes, all of a sudden, their new policies start coming in.
A lot of people bought 2-3 years ago with the only intention to do an assignment. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We're going to do
Thanks for giving me
round 2. Maybe I'll come to Vancouver and we'll do it in your studio.
That would be
as well.
great. That would be great, brother.
Awesome.
When you come on Thursday, it's game one.
Because we all get to decide.
The business, the way to shoot the video.
All right, the boys tell me we're live. So if you're watching live on Twitch, you guys know how it goes. Just leave your questions in the chat group. And if you're watching the recording right now on YouTube or listening while you're taking your dog for a walk, or maybe you're on the treadmill, welcome to the Jas Takhar podcast. What episode are we at, guys? We're at 237. How time flies. In fact, that's a great segue because my next guest actually flew in from Vancouver. It's my boy. We're starting to get to really know each other well. First time we met face to face. Jas Oberoi, how you doing, brother?
Doing very well. Thank you, Jas. Thanks for the invitation and giving me the opportunity to share myself. Okay, that's a camera. Okay.
There, you're talking. Doesn't matter,
Okay,
man.
that's my camera. Okay.
We have 4 cameras.
Okay, which one should I look into it? So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jas, for giving me the opportunity to come across with your audience. It's amazing. So looking forward to it.
And I just wanted to say to the listeners, like, you did hear me right. Yes, it's another Jas.
Yes.
And I'm Jas Pinder. Not a lot of people know that. That's
Mine
my
is
full name.
Jaspreet.
Jaspreet, which
Yeah,
is,
Jaspreet.
I think, a lot more common.
Yes.
A lot more common. Not a lot of people know this maybe outside of the Punjabi culture, that a lot of our names, if not almost every one of our names, are unisex.
Correct.
Right?
That's true.
And so it's interesting when you meet another Jas. I'm starting to meet a lot more in Toronto. You're the first Jas I know in Vancouver. Real estate agent in Vancouver. Very focused heavily with investors.
Correct.
Why I wanted you to come on today, because obviously my viewers and listeners, Jas, are kind of split, right? Like I got 50% my real estate clients who are home buyers, home sellers, out of which I'm going to say 85% are really real estate investors. Okay. And then the other 50% of my viewership and listenership is real estate agents. And so I always like, and you know, I don't really do it often where I get a real estate agent who's very successful in doing it on a high level in the business, but also is investor savvy. Like, not to say that you have to be investor savvy in this business, but for me, I like it because you also invest yourself, right?
Correct,
so I want to talk about a myriad of things. In fact, we got some current headlines that I wanted to go over. I thought because you're coming from Vancouver, why don't I bring up some stuff that's in the media when it comes to Vancouver? So we'll talk about like the whole market and investing and kind of your story about how you do flipping, you do the burst strategy. I know you guys don't do a lot of pre-construction stuff. We do a lot of pre-construction stuff here in Toronto. And then I think we'll jump to giving the real estate professionals, real estate agents and mortgage guys and gals some strategies. Like how did you work your way up in the ranks of both, like you call it the whole Fraser Valley area. So it's Surrey, Delta, Abbotsford, Chile. I knew I was going to miss one, man. I knew I was going to miss one when you told me, but I did pretty good. 3 out of 4 I got. Like, you're making a lot of noise in that business right now, in that area, in the real estate business. And so I know my real estate agents are going to love it. As always, the crew behind the 1s and 2s today is Clyde and Bo. Make sure that we put all our boys' links and stuff, and they go follow this guy on social. You can see and you can decide who's the better looking Jas Takhar or Jas Oberoi. We'll let the viewers and listeners make that decision. He has a beautiful smile for the guys in the car right now. You got to make sure you jump on to YouTube because he brings a nice smile to the screen. Table of contents, some of the headlines. Greater Vancouver home buyers to see more choice after jump in new listing. The feds pump in about 18 million to speed up the city of North Vancouver housing. We might touch on, we don't always touch on all the articles, but we try to do our best here. More BC developers offering lock-off suites that divide a unit for flexibility. Real Estate Association economists asks if BC's flipping tax is worth the trouble. I really want to get your thoughts on that because you're in that world yourself.
Right. Yes.
And then challenges of the soon-to-end first-time home buyer program in Vancouver. Why don't we actually just jump to that for a second? Because we also have the cancellation of the program for first-time home buyers. And I'm not sure if the team finished the video, the little 1-minute reel that I did for Instagram, talking about the fact that I had a buyer say to me, oh my God, I can't believe that the government is canceling the first-time home buyers plan where I can use my RSPs. Okay. And so I was like, oh, that's actually not the one that they got rid of. And we should definitely put out some content around that. The one that got canceled, and I think it was a federal one. I kind of only really know Ontario really well, Jas, so you'll correct me if I'm wrong. But it's where the government was actually partnering up with first-time home buyers and helping with the down payment. Correct. But I think the problem with it was the fact that they were going to take equity into the property, house, right? And so did you have any clients that took advantage of that program?
So
Zero. Same here.
Same here. And that's the reason, one of the main reasons it stopped, because the stats shows it, not many people were taking the advantage of it because of equity and the qualification. The qualification criteria was so difficult for them to be qualified to get that money, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like most of the policies which our government is bringing it on from last 5-7 years, I'm keep hearing these new policies are coming, but actually, in my opinion, they don't have a ground reality of what exactly should be working for first-time home buyers, rather than giving these, incentives they're trying to give. In their sense, they're saying it, okay, you can give these incentives to the people, but I feel like in ground reality, they need more than a down payment help in there. You are basically telling them take a debt from us.
Yep.
And a debt from the mortgage side.
And I want to just quickly go back, and then we'll talk about this more, Jas. But you said about the criteria, and the total borrower income couldn't be higher than 120 or 150,000, really, in places like Vancouver and Toronto, where that's contradicting to how mortgages kind of work and qualification for the mortgages. Like, if you only had a $100,000 income, you can only really qualify for a $400,000 home.
Yes, and you can't get it anything. That's why I said a lot of people couldn't get qualified for this. This is the challenge. One reason was equity too, but the main reason was qualification. And that's why the stats said that not many people could qualify because of the same reason. Yeah. If somebody's making less than $100,000, they will not get, they will qualify for your mortgage help, like the down payment help. But on the other side, flip side is going to be when you go to the bank, they will say, sorry, you can't buy anything because your income doesn't qualify.
Right.
So
it just doesn't make sense.
And that's why I'm saying these people who are making these policies, due respect to them, but they are not having ground reality, like how those numbers and the things are going to work.
And I think that brings me to my next thought, right? Like, if you look back when this was brought into place, it was right before the last election.
Yes.
So be careful in making sure that what vote you're going to place and actually looking at the policies. I think the problem with people and the public in general when it comes to elections is that they make their decision based on the person. I.e., for example, I love Trudeau, I don't like Trudeau. Yeah. I love Trump, I hate Biden, vice versa, whatever it may be. And I'm not here to go on a super political rant, but I think what the decision needs to be made based on is the policy. So when you actually look into this specific incentive that was offered to what you just said, Jas, it makes no sense. It made no sense back then. Like I'm going to maybe dig back into the day that this incentive came out a few years ago. I know I did a video in and around saying, what? Like, I don't want the government to be have equity. I think
equity. They came in 2018 or 2019. That was the year which they came into.
We can actually even look here, boys. Maybe we can figure out. Give me a sec here. Let's actually just find this right now when that actually came into play. I'm gonna see if we actually even have it on this article. Bear with me here.
It was 2018.
I had a feeling it was 2020 actually.
No, it was before COVID.
It was just before COVID, right? Before COVID. Anyways, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think there's gonna be an election coming soon.
Yeah.
take a look at who is going to be actually, what is going to be the actual policies that you want to look into. Let's go into this flipping tax. Talk to me about it. What is this
another reason
all about, man?
This is all about is just to being on the news. And again, this is very related to what the previous policy came by federal. This time with the BC government, they brought it up. Flipping taxes. Basically, they're saying to you is you have to pay 20% if you sell your house as an investment property in less than a year. Okay. And if it is in 2 years, then it is prorated. The tax will be prorated. Let's say you're doing it on after 16 months, 17 months, then it will be prorated. But if it is before 1 year, straight up 20%. Two things is, I always say it on my videos too, to the public out there in Vancouver, I say it, and it generally everywhere. Real estate is a long-term plan. Out of 100, how many have a plan of selling it into 1 year? Yes, those times come once in the blue moon when the COVID hit, market went all of a sudden, every month the prices were going up. You're not going to see that every other day going to be happening. So that eliminates the person of the qualification, like who are the people who are going to flip it in less than a year. So they're not going to come into this. Secondly, I'm the seller who's thinking to flip it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to it. I saw your story this morning. You posted it about the inventory low.
Yes.
Same issue is in the Vancouver market. So what I will be doing it, when inventory is low, I'm not selling it. There's already a shortage of it.
Yeah.
So it will be a more shortage. Prices will go up.
Yep.
When buyers don't have a choice, the prices will go up. So whom they're serving it? Are they trying to help the home buyers, or they're trying to make more money out of it? As saying it, what I feel like it, as my perspective could be wrong, is my opinion on it. You making money, let me also make some money from 100%. You, Mr. Investor.
Yeah.
That's all I care. I wanted to make some money out of that pie. I wanted a small pie. I don't care about the affording houseability. This tax has nothing to do with the housing affordability.
Well, I think if
they're just putting it under that umbrella.
I think, you know, the whole thing about Vancouver real estate and Toronto real estate, I say to my clients all the time, like, we are not distant cousins, like we are first cousins when it comes to the real estate market. There's really not huge differences. There's some rules and regulations, very similar, right? You guys still have the you're protected, you know, by the ocean, and we got the lake, but we are both kind of landlocked, right? Like, you can't really build outwards. And I don't know if you know the numbers off the top of your head, Jas, but like here in Ontario, specifically Southern Ontario, GTA, and even going, you know, into the micro market more, we can only build upwards, like in terms of condos, right? In fact, we need approximately anywhere from about 50 to about 60,000 households a year. And the best year that we've ever had was about 42,000. Like, that was the best year on record. People ask all the time, like, oh my God, who's going to be buying all these condos that are being built? Here in Ontario, you had to have sold 75 to 85%, call it 80% of the building before
you
the
get
builder,
a first draw, the mortgage, right? Same thing.
Before the builder can get the construction
mortgage,
financing,
construction
right?
financing.
And so that's
bank
why
is not going to lend you the money.
The bank's not going to lend you the construction financing. And so here, similar that you know, we have those similarities when it comes to the housing affordability. I actually don't think they give a shit at what, like, the government doesn't really care, because if they did, all they really had to do here in Ontario, talk about it from a BC perspective, please, is speed up the process in building. There's so much red tape. It takes approximately 10 years from when a permit gets put into the city to when the building actually gets built. 10 years. Manhattan's close to like 3 years. Do you kind of know the numbers?
Same thing. It's going to be, and there also a shortage of land, because we tell it there's one side of the ocean, another side is the mountains. Yeah. And half of the land in BC is under ALR. ALR means agricultural land reserve. So you can't do anything there. Forget about it. You can't even do any development.
We have what's called the Green Belt legislation. So very similar.
Very similar. Yeah. It's agricultural.
How long has that been in place? Is it ALR?
ALR is from hundreds of years, and it will be always going to be like that. They can't change it. And the city doesn't have a control to take it out, actually. It's the government has to involve, and there's a separate association who's going to get involved. I personally, in hand, has the experience of buying one ALR for my client. Yeah. It was industrial zoning, but back in the days, the owner in the 80s, he changed it into agricultural land reserve because he wanted to pay less property taxes. That time, there was so many land in there. There's a parcel, industrial land, 8 acres. He purchased it for about $2 million which in actual, if there was not into ALR, that price would have been 20 to 25 million basis.
Right.
Okay. Long story short, we tried so many things on the city side, on the agriculture association side, literally for 3 years, nothing happened. Those are old school people sitting there.
Yeah.
They don't want development. They wanted agriculture to be reserved. I agree there need to be agriculture reserved,
Right.
but that shouldn't be a part in the middle of the city, because what happened, I'll give you an example of Surrey.
Okay.
If you go into Surrey,
Yeah.
South Surrey is the area
Yeah.
where you will see a lot of lavish homes in there. One of the best area demographically and the expensive area in Surrey. But your house is a lavish house, and then next to your house is going to be a farmland.
Okay.
That's not how the city grows.
Right.
What happens is farmlands are going to be, it's not a rocket science. Farmlands are supposed to be going outside the city.
Yeah.
Okay. This was outside the city 15 years ago. So now the population has grown and they have expanded to that side. They could take this out further. They're not trying to do it. They're saying, no, it's into agricultural land reserve. You cannot change the zoning. With that, everything is around there. Some buildings will be a condo building, then there will be a townhouse side, some beautiful homes, and then a farmhouse.
And then just a farmhouse. And
It's not like one farmhouse. It will be like 15 farmhouses in the row.
Okay.
And then there's a house start again.
right.
So you can't do it.
That is odd infrastructure, though.
Yes. Because that was planned 15 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
There was not many people coming in that side, but now the population is growing.
Yeah.
Every year, Surrey is the fastest growing city. Okay.
In BC?
In
Okay,
BC.
okay.
In BC is the fastest growing with the population.
Is it all our paisans? Like all the Punjabis are going there?
Majority
Is
of them like
majority.
it or not. Yeah, but that's
so very
what it
similar
is.
to the GTA in
GTA,
Brampton.
yeah, Brampton,
specifically.
yeah. So same thing in there too.
Okay.
And the population is growing. They don't have a land.
Yeah.
Why don't they change it? If the government really wants to do it, who has the authority to change those? The government.
Yeah.
The controlling government has the power to, whether it's an NDP, Liberal, whichever government comes in, they have the control to change it.
Yeah.
They don't want to change it.
Well, I mean, we see it here all the time, right? I mean,
don't want it.
our Greenbelt legislation came into place 2005.
Yeah.
And look, to your point, when you talked about the agricultural restrictions as well, I mean, for us, like it's important, the Greenbelt, right? Like, I mean, it preserves certain land. And however, if you have the amount of people that you're allowing to come in, where are they going to live? You either stop some of it, and look, I'm a a child of immigrants. My parents came to Toronto in 1973, 1974, and so I'm not saying stop immigration, but maybe we can slow it down, right? Slow it down a little bit. Or as much as like I love people coming into Ontario, I get it. It's part of the business model of the government. It's why immigration won't stop. We need people to come in, work, pay taxes. That's how the government makes their money, and I understand it. But maybe we could disperse people outside of Vancouver and Toronto just for a little bit. So then you get the people going to Saskatchewan, maybe it's Manitoba, wherever it may be. Because if you just allow people at the rate that they're allowing people to come in, and we haven't figured out where they're going to live, no wonder people have a hard time affording
and
a
moreover,
home.
it's intent. Okay, everything is about the one thing is we work at day-to-day functions also. My marketing manager bringing a plan, which seems amazing. But are you going to intend? Your intent is there? No, this does. Or if the plan is coming in and I feel like, wait, I discussed something else with you.
Yeah.
This plan doesn't make
Or
sense.
you can't execute on it.
Yes, because this intent is not there.
Yeah.
He or she is only making that plan just to show that I did my 8 hours, put it into making a plan because Jas asked me to make a plan, marketing plan. But that plan doesn't make any sense at all. How are we going to execute it?
So true.
So I'm just doing it because I'm getting paid for it.
Right.
I have to do something.
Yeah.
Here it is. And that's what the government is doing it. They have to do something because those people who are sitting on those chairs making the policies, they're getting the salaries.
Yeah.
They have to do something. So this is what they do is not having any ground reality whatsoever how the affording houseability will be. We're talking about this. I came to this country in 2008.
2008. Okay.
On a worker visa. Since then, I'm hearing this housing affordability. It's not a rocket science. It's a supply and demand. You know, I know, every other person around the corner knows supply and demand.
Yeah.
Not enough supply, more demand. Unless you don't address that, you can bring billions of dollars. Every day, the government says we have put this million, this billion here and there for housing affordability.
I mean,
where is it going?
I couldn't agree with you anymore, brother. I mean, I got licensed in 2004. Yeah, this is my 20th year. And I've been hearing that they've been wanting to try to fix the supply, but they keep putting Band-Aids on that whole formula of supply and demand, where they try to curb the demand always by either making, the fair housing plan that came out back in 2017. They come out with a bunch of these incentives, like the one that they tried to, the one that we spoke about earlier that they canceled. But no one actually rips off the Band-Aid and says, here, let's fix the actual supply. It's always little touches on the demand side.
That's what
right?
it is. You streamline the process.
Yeah.
You streamline the process. As a developer, you said 10 years in BC is give or take about 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
Going to be. So less or more same. How the amount of development time from the ground, rezoning everything, the building permit to takes about 4 years. Why don't you streamline to 6 months? Okay, you have a shortage of staff. Increase your staff, increase the fee. Developer will not mind paying you extra fee because he has to hold that property for 4 years. And land is not cheap. He's holding that property which is worth millions of dollars. You increase it, hire more staff. There's people out there, there are qualified people out there. You're bringing such a big amount of immigration. Why don't you hire those people here?
Right.
You're not giving them the government jobs. You're not giving any jobs to them. And then you're saying, oh, we don't have qualified people. Same issues having in the hospitals. Nurses are not getting, doctors are not coming. And I see the doctors who are immigrants coming here driving Uber.
Yeah, I know.
What's the point of
I know.
I don't understand the system. You qualifying him, you giving him an immigration because you're a doctor.
Was it different from when you came in 2008?
Same.
Okay.
So you have to go through the whole process. So what happens with the doctors? Because I know personally some of the doctors as a friends in there, they are doctors. So immigration system, there's such a big loophole in there. They're not connected with the federal and the provisional governments are not connected with each other. So the doctor comes on a basis of his income, qualification, degree, whatever.
Okay.
He gets a Canadian immigration. Now should be if the government is recognizing your experiences, giving you the immigration on that basis, you should start doing your practice.
100%.
Whereas now they say, oh, Mr. Doctor, you have to go to some isolated area. I'm talking about BC. I don't know about Ontario.
Yeah.
You have to work others, isolated areas. First, you have to go through the studies for 3 years. At the age of 40, 50, I'm going back to the school. It's difficult. Then you go to the isolated areas, work there for 10 years. Then you come back to Surrey. How does it make sense?
Yeah.
That's why 9 out of 10 doctors don't do the practice again here.
Right.
They do get into
And
some
like you
different
said,
business.
they're driving Ubers. And
Yeah, that's what it is.
Or
They
become
somehow-
real estate agents.
Yeah, there are doctors. I know personally one doctor who's an immigration consultant.
For sure.
Like because there's no choice.
Yeah.
If you are serious, your intent is there to just have one exam there. I
Yeah.
understand Canadian medical is different than other countries' medicals, but just put one exam in there.
Yeah.
To make sure he qualifies, he understands the system, streamline the process, give him 6 months, you become a doctor then.
Yep. You look, man, if I had something else to, disagree with you about it, I've been seeing this since I've been licensed. I've been seeing it with my family ever since that they came into Canada. There needs to be a change, especially right now. I think this specific government has been in place for too long. Not to say if it's been good or bad. I definitely have opinions on that, but not for today's conversation. However, it's been too long. It's time.
Yeah, we need a change.
We need a change right now, and hopefully it changes to the blue government just to give us something of a difference. But before we move on to anything else, let's actually talk about this article. Feds pump in $18 million to speed up. Let's see what they say here. To speed up City of North Vancouver housing. The federal government is chipping in $18 million to help the City of North Vancouver to pick up the pace of development. The money comes from the $4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund that the feds have set up to assist municipalities that committed to accommodating faster growth. The government intends for the program to spur construction of 650,000 new homes for the next 10 years. What do we got here? Your mayor's talking about welcoming the funding. I'm sure you are. We all know that we need more housing. Cutting red tape might seem inexpensive, at least in theory, but the mayor said that there's a lot of logistical work to be done at the planning level. I tend to like to sometimes go right near the bottom of the article. What do we got here? Academics and development industry members have started to voice concern that with Canada's immigration targets of almost 1.5 million new permanent residents over the next 3 years, no amount of acceleration in housing will meet the growing demand. So funny how the top of the article talks about the 18 million and speeding up the housing. but then near the bottom it says, but we're not going to really end up actually meeting the growth. What's up in North Vancouver? Is it?
Brother, nothing going to change.
Yeah.
18 million is nothing.
Well,
It's not nothing.
That's
to
18
do.
houses.
That's exactly.
Well, let's actually do the math. Let's call it about, this.
Not
more than
even
anyone
18 houses.
Well, I was going to say, to build what, a 2,000 square foot home
With the land
you're
and everything,
with
probably 1.5 to 1.6
So-
at least. Even, if you're buying it. Actually, I'm taking a very...
Because what are you building at? 300,
a
200?
square foot? No,
Yeah.
$300 a square foot.
$300 a square
Actually,
foot.
2 million will be the end cost because the land over there also, at least if it is a 3,000 square feet, you can't buy less than 1.2.
Okay.
And then there will be a 3,000 square feet house on it, which is 900. So close to 2.1 million.
So
this
9
is gonna
homes.
go. Yeah, that's it. And this is why I'm saying it's just a gimmick to them.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't find a better word than this. It's a gimmick.
I like that.
They're
actually.
selling it,
Yeah.
just a gimmick.
For sure.
The mayor also saying it, we're welcoming. Obviously, they're
Yeah.
going to welcome the 18 million. They're not going to say it, okay, keep
who's
it
gonna
to
say
you.
no to 18 million?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take the 18 million.
Yeah. But here's 9 homes.
9 homes.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Exactly.
With this. Okay, this is our plan is. This is the blueprint is. These billions, this sounds so big, the numbers, 18 million. But
Yeah.
if you look at the ground reality, exactly how much is going to be invested into? No. Nothing is going to be. And it's an interesting point. You don't have it in the news here. Because elections are happening.
Yeah.
When the elections comes in, and I'm not against any government here, maybe sounding like, okay, I don't like the government. I like the government who people love them for different reasons.
Yeah.
Not for the real estate side, one particular is going to be. When elections comes, all of a sudden, their new policies start coming
100%.
in. Elections are coming next year in BC. Okay, federal is there, BC is also coming in. That's why these new policies are keep coming in. So they come up with a new policy now. Our housing minister has come up, is saying every lot can be subdivided, no zoning.
Yep.
Nothing needs to be done. You can make 4 plexes, 3 plexes, whatever the size
There's
of
no
the land.
cap on it?
There's no cap on it
Okay.
as of now. They're saying it,
Okay.
which is going to be, they have already passed a law. It's called Bill 44.
Okay.
So every house can be at least subdivided, if not more, like subdivided into 2 lots.
Yep.
Or they could be 4, depending on the size
So
of
they
the
can
land.
build up as well, though.
No, not up.
Okay.
Just like FAR is not upsize. Like you can't build high-rise buildings.
Okay.
As long as, if it is a high-rise, it has to be near to the public transit.
Okay.
And if there's already a multi-family zoning on it,
Yeah.
then you can increase the FAR or you can build it up to, FAR means like the height of how much you can build on
Yep.
it.
Okay.
That's going to be, so that is going to be 20 stories.
Okay.
But here's the problem is, and I have met a couple of people in the municipalities. I've spoken to actually one of the mayors too. I'm not going to tell the which city was it. No idea, she said that, how this funding is going to be helping us because we don't know. The government has already passed the bill.
Yeah.
This is what it is, so far from the ground reality. Yes, it's going to be amazing, everything, but they have not given the blueprint exactly, giving all the municipalities, okay, you have 6 months to implement it. In November last year, 23, they have come up with this. Now you have to do it in 6 months, come up with the plan. So every house can be subdivided into more.
Okay.
Okay. But who's going to develop the services? Who's going to upgrade the services? The sewer. City doesn't know it. Is it developer who's going to do it? If I'm a developer and I do a lot of developments in Surrey, I'm not going to do it. It's going to cost me too much. It's not worth me to make 4 plexes on one
Right.
lot to upgrade the services. And city says we don't have funds. So who's going to do it?
Nobody.
And the government is going to say, see, we brought this bill, housing affordability, we are serious. Our intent is there, give us the vote. And that's all they care about.
Yeah.
It will be just like the other one. The new real, the
you
new law
taking
came
the
in.
words out of my mouth because I was thinking that's exactly what's going to happen with
Exactly.
Because to your point, if the city's not making the helping with the services, how much would it cost? I mean, are we talking?
It's a lot of
a
money.
lot of money.
To give you in the context of it, it's going to be if there's probably 300 or 400 meters of a services far from the
Okay.
main sewer
Yeah.
to your property.
Yeah.
It would cost you around $500,000.
Okay.
And I'm end of the day selling only 4 plaques on it. The land is already expensive. The construction cost is it. Who's going to pay for the $500,000? My end cost will not recover, so I will say leave it.
100%. As an
The government
investor,
is
you're not going to
say
put
that,
money.
Okay, I did it, my job. Now
Yes.
it is up to developer. If he's not bringing the service, that's not me. Let us bring more billions from the federal
Yes.
to invest into the development side and do
Yes.
it. Did you talk to any municipalities? No, they are all over the place.
Yeah.
Why don't you bring all the mayors on the table? I said, this is the rule we want to bring it. Tell us your challenges, what it's going to be. It's not it's a simple thing. Just talk to people
Well-
who are running those power, who are in the power. The cities are there. I agree. They have taken the power, which makes sense. Some of the things make sense. No public hearing.
Yeah.
Because it wastes too much time. They
Yeah.
said no rezoning needs to be done. Great. But if you think every lot will be the same,
Yeah.
then who's going to develop it? Like how the service is upgrading and their street lights going to be? You needed parking issue. That's a major issue.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a house where there's only 4 people living. Everybody nowadays have a car. 4 cars are going to be parked in the car. We have that. City has passed the housing blueprint according to 4 cars. Now in the same lot, there will be 16 cars because there will be 4 plexes. Where are we going to park those cars? No idea. Even the mayors doesn't have the idea. I talked to them. I spoke to the planners because being in the real estate, I am always curious to know, okay, how this is going to work.
Yeah.
We met the mayor in one of the networking events. I said, hey, what's your thought about it? She literally quoting her, she said, I'm as clueless as you, Jas. I said, okay. So you mean you don't have any idea how this is going to work?
And no plan.
We don't know. This is like in close to December.
Okay. So this past year.
Yeah, past year. She said, no, it's too early to tell. We don't have any idea.
So
the amount of funding each city is going to get, it is not enough to do this all.
So now you being an investor, where are some opportunities though? Like obviously flipping is probably not the best strategy right now with everything that's going on and the costs that involved. Your performers are not going to work well. Where are some opportunities in all of, BC, Vancouver, maybe just, the whole Fraser
Surrey,
Valley?
as I said, Surrey is the great place to invest.
Okay,
not
why?
because it's the fastest growing city.
Okay.
And it will
So
be,
we know the demand's there.
Yeah, demand
Okay.
is there. Secondly, it's on record too. People can Google it. Surrey will be having the biggest lower mainland downtown, bigger than Vancouver.
Okay.
Because Surrey still have a land where they're going to be redeveloping it, everything. It's called Surrey City Central.
Yeah.
So that's the area. The city of Surrey has moved there already.
Okay.
They're bringing all the high-rise development there. All those old
Commercials
homes are getting-
coming there.
Commercial. It's
Is
very
transit there
fast.
already?
It's not there.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that is in one of the process going to
Yep.
be. But
Yep.
the the SkyTrain is already there. Yes.
Okay.
The
So
SkyTrain is there.
we call that a master plan community. here. Is
Exactly.
that
That's
kind
what
of-
it is.
Is
Yeah.
that what
And
it is?
has already been announced by the government
Okay.
that this is coming. Okay. And it will be the biggest downtown in Lower Mainland, bigger than Vancouver. So imagine it will be in next.
Bigger than downtown Vancouver?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because of the land wise.
Okay.
Okay. They're saying it. We will be developing it, and whatever they couldn't do it in downtown before, now they can know. Okay.
And when is that planned for?
It's next 5 years. They're saying it will be
Okay.
happening, and there's a
Okay.
lot of already high-rise buildings coming up there. So
Okay.
if somebody want to invest there.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
Yep.
Average house is going to be around 1.5.
So, but can you go back to, you said high rise. So can you kind of give me an idea on what price per square foot would be for a condo?
Per selling.
Yeah. Like, so how much would they be selling that for right now?
Selling nowadays is selling around $1,100 to $1,200 a square foot.
That's pretty good. Like compared to us here right now. Now this is in our downtown core. We're around 1,600 to 1,650 price per square foot, but that's like downtown Toronto. So at $1,100 price per square foot, just for comparison purposes, what would downtown Vancouver be at like right now? Brand
Downtown
new?
Vancouver will be around same what Toronto has it.
So very similar to
very
Toronto,
similar to
16, 1700.
1700.
And the reason I wanted to kind of go heavy into that, because I see that if you're telling me that this lower mainland is going to be bigger than what's in downtown Vancouver, you're going to have a lot of jobs there. You're going to have the transit. You're going to have the infrastructure. The city's already moved there, which means that there's going to be a lot of jobs there.
Exactly.
That tells me that if you can buy for $1,100, there is going to be that lift.
Yes.
Like I can see it going to 15, 16, 1700 in 10 years. Because correct me if I'm wrong, if we look back 10 years ago, you were probably what, $500-$600 price per square foot? And so I know maybe, lower mainland you can't compare because there was nothing there, but other pockets of Surrey and pre-construction, were you probably flirting around $500-$600 price per square foot?
Even overall, okay, just to rather than having a per square foot, maybe some people can understand in a broader picture would be, let's say, a townhouse. I'll give you an example because I said it to a lot of people that back in the days I was saying it in 2018. It's a 45-minute drive from Surrey to Vancouver. The townhomes over there are 1 million on average at that time. 2018. No, Vancouver.
Okay.
2018 I'm talking about. And those days I was selling the clients. When people say, oh, condos and townhomes don't appreciate. They do appreciate. They don't appreciate the same amount of as the land is going to be because land obviously there's no more land. But if you can't buy the land, buy something. And that's what I'm going to put it in a context again is coming back to the point where I started as townhomes in those days were selling for $550,000 to $600,000 in Surrey. And Vancouver was 1 million. I said, it's 45 minutes drive from here. How long, forget about even downtown, talking about Lower Mainland, new downtown coming up, not about, in general. How long it will take the prices to match what Vancouver price is. It's just a matter of time. And today, what exactly average townhome over there
In Surrey
is more than 1 million. Or almost 1 million. And Vancouver has 1.3, 1.4. Yes, it will go more in Vancouver, but you have to be visionary. Like, okay, next 4 years, real estate is always a long-term plan.
Right.
If you're thinking of 1 year, the real estate is not your game. You can't be overnight rich in real estate.
You can't day trade real estate, is what
it's
I
not
always
a
say,
shares.
right? Yeah, it's
you
not,
can't
it's
do
not
it.
stocks here.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You'll lose your shirt, and people
Yes.
do. Like, even when you're looking at it from a year perspective, that's where people get into trouble. I mean, in the condo world, pre-construction world, a lot of people bought 2-3 years ago with the only intention to do an assignment.
And that's what they got
And
screwed
now
over.
they're in trouble,
Yeah.
because the values didn't go up to what they thought they were going to be going to. I feel very, very lucky that we always tell our clients, please don't buy this if your only thought is to flip it.
I'm saying this on a record, Jas. None of my single client got stuck on a pre-sale, whichever I sold it during the COVID time. The reason why is it exactly what you said it.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody, they can come on record and say it. Jo was lying.
Yeah.
Is because I was telling them, don't buy if your intent is just to flip. Buy it with the intent of, yes, if your prices goes up, great, sell it. But if you can't make the money, have the capacity to close it.
Yes.
So, Mr. Buyer, you better buy one or none than buying 5, and you can't close any of them.
And 100%. And when you're not only close it, and I know you'll agree with this because we both kind of have that long-term approach to investing into real estate, is that think about holding on to it forever.
Yeah.
Like, I know you might not hold on to the real estate forever, but if you can envision yourself holding on to it forever, then you can start to, you got to have the stomach for it, to refinance,
Yes.
pull out equity
and buy
it's-
something else.
And it's actually quite simple, right? Values go up. When they do, that's when you do the refi.
Yeah.
Because chances are when values went up, interest rates were lower as well.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in a market like we are right now with a higher interest rate environment, yes, values come down. That's not when you do the refi.
No.
That's when you maybe go think of buying.
Exactly.
Because real estate just went on sale. Like, everybody runs to the shoe store when there's a sale for 20% off. Everybody takes off lunch and I need to go. But then when real estate goes on sale, like it has in some areas, not everywhere, and you shouldn't buy if you're not ready. Let me do the disclaimer right now. And if you don't have all your ducks in order, but when we're in a market like now where values have dropped, yes, the cost of borrowing has increased because the interest rate, but your closing costs have gone down. Your land transfer tax is less. Your down payment that is required is less. And
Exactly.
so overall, you can
overall
win.
is going to be win, and then simplifying it, buy when nobody's buying it. Okay, when the market is going to go hot, I should have purchased it. I could have made this much amount of money. Yes, you could have made it, but here's the thing: is you didn't buy anything. That's why you can't sell it. If you wanted to sell it, you have to buy something.
Yeah.
Right. You can't sell it without buying it. And second, coming back to the refinancing, the best part of that refinancing is too, which I like it too. Again, according to your affordability, don't over leverage. If you can afford the payments, do it. You don't pay any capital gain on it because you're not selling it. You can save the taxes, refinance it, because on the loan, there's no taxes.
It's the only legal way not to pay
Yes,
taxes when it
exactly.
comes to real estate.
So
right?
take the loan out of it and buy another property. Yes, people have done it multiple times. It has been, as you said, now the interest rates is not high. They are high.
Yeah.
It's not a good strategy in this market.
Right
This
now.
is not going to be forever.
Yeah.
So have that mindset. Okay. You have to be visionary. I said it in the beginning. Real estate is all about long vision. What my plans are going to be, how I'm going to execute those plans one step at a time. You can't do everything today. But real estate is there forever.
Well, look, I mean, a lot of people that are smarter than me and people that don't have any education or just came to the country have used real estate as the vehicle, because you don't really need to be that smart, because the bank doesn't care if you have a degree or not when they're lending you a mortgage.
Brother.
They just want to make sure that you can pay them back. And so it's one of the main reasons I love investing into real estate, because I just follow kind of the big money, right? So when I see really a place and a time, like this whole lower mainland of Surrey thing is really interesting to me, because I have a feeling that all 3 levels of government are putting in money there. Like, is the feds putting in
Yes.
money? Like, this
There
is a
is.
big.
People can Google it. They will come up. The whole community plan the master community plan is up there.
Yeah.
They are giving already. There's about, don't count me exactly, there's about 70 to 18 towers which have been approved. In
Wow.
the last 3 years.
Okay.
And it's going to come in next 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's coming. it's coming. You have to be smart enough. Again, the properties are expensive there, but if you can afford it,
Yep.
buy something there, hold in, because those houses, a developer need land assembly, and when the land assembly is going to come, your house will be coming there too. Buy a bigger land there. On average, the price cost will be in the Cedar Hills is the neighborhood actually, about 1.5 average, 7 to 10,000 square feet lot. Okay, we count it as a square feet. I don't know how you guys calculate.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we count square feet and then you hold it.
Yeah.
You don't need to buy like crazy. Just
No.
hold one property, have a rental suite in there. Your 90%, if not 100% of your mortgage will be covered by the tenants.
Yep.
Hold it for next 5 years.
And look, Jay, we say it all the time at my team that it's nice when you hear people buying 12 properties, 82 properties. They're on their 330th door now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. You don't have to do that many to actually create some wealth for
Exactly.
you and create some generational wealth that you can decide to pass on to family, whatever. One extra property can change the course of your life.
Exactly.
Like outside your principal residence, one extra property can make a massive difference. And you don't even have to do what J.O. and I are speaking about. And you guys hear me call him J.O. because we didn't want to confuse everybody saying that there's two Jazzes. So
Yeah,
it's
who
J.O.
Jazzes?
Yeah,
So we
which
come up
Jazz
with
is
it,
Jazz?
okay.
Yeah,
That's a
so
J.O.
J.O. and J.T., it's the JTP, it's Jas Takhar podcast. That even if you don't want to get involved in the strategy of pulling out equity, just buying a property today, as simple and basic as it sounds, it really is this simple and basic. You buy a property today, every 10 years, on average, the value's gonna double.
Yep.
Okay. Your rents increase over time, the rent that you charge the tenant. The mortgage goes down, which is a good thing. And in about 25 years, that property is completely paid off. Now, you might be listening to this and saying, dude, I'm 40 years old. Like, you're telling me at 65 it's going to be? Yeah, at 65, but that's still young. Like 40 years ago, 80 years ago, 65 was like really, really old and that's because people were dying on average at 66 and 67. You know what I mean? The lifespan of the men and women have increased significantly, that at 65, you're still going to be very young. You have a fully paid off property, right? It's why I think that younger people should start. The earlier you start in any investing, the higher your rate of return is going to be, right? So, I mean, you don't need to buy 300 doors like I know a lot of people do. I know you have a lot of doors, and that's fantastic. And
And it's for
scale
not
out.
everybody. You scale up slowly, gradually.
I
You
love that.
scale it up, right? Not as for everybody. And I have this. I say this on my social media platforms: is walk the talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't please someone if you haven't done it, and I have done it.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm telling you, I have done it. I'm open, like my social media content, everything is, I'm very open about it, keeping it, no hidden secrets in there, telling
Full
it,
transparency.
like full transparency. These are the properties, these are the addresses. Go check it.
Yeah.
Pull out the titles.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2024.
What
It's
is
not
what is the best property that you invested into? Like for yourself.
commercial
Okay.
commercial plazas.
Yeah.
I love those
Yeah.
because that is my retirement. Interestingly, I just did that recently, a seminar too, and I shared that story there. I have a philosophy about a plan, not a philosophy, it's a plan. My retirement plan is commercial plazas. I own 3 of them. Okay. Commercial plazas means like a strip mall. There's 5-6 shops. There's going to be 10 tenants in there. Standalone building, 10 people. They're paying my mortgages. I don't have to worry about it. There's some positive cash also coming in. Even with the high interest rates, some positive cash still coming in there. Okay, coming back to it. Commercials are expensive. I put $200,000 in a residential. The day I double the money, I sell it.
Okay.
It takes 1 year
Yeah.
or it takes 5 years. I'm going to sell it. I'm not going to hold on to that property. The reason for that is because I'm going to make that 200, 400 to 800
It's a doubles game.
double.
Yeah.
That 800 when it comes in, pull out 600, put it into commercial,
Yeah.
keep doing this theory. Because residential, commercial, you don't need to sell it. I give you a real example. A plaza, I own it in Abbotsford. It worth $3 million. I put $900,000 in there. My mortgage is $13,000. My rent is coming $16,000 net. $3,000 positive cash flow. Why would I sell that? Today, it worth close to $5 million.
You bought that for $3 million?
$3 million.
Okay.
2020.
Okay.
When sky was falling, everybody's saying, just like today, nobody's going to work from commercial offices. Everybody will be working from home. It's a human nature, you have to understand the things which a mankind is doing from hundreds of years. It's not going to change overnight. It may change in next 20 years. People will start going back to home culture, but just because of the COVID, not all of a sudden quick change. During that time, I knew it. I can get a good price because people have this uncertainty. The best time to buy is when there's uncertainty in the mind of the seller. What to do? Is the market going up, down, what it is? When it is prominent, the market is going to go up. He's not going to sell it for cheap.
And when there's the uncertainty, the confidence is a lot lower. And so nobody does anything.
I said, okay, I'm buying this plaza.
Yeah.
Took a risk of it. It worth close to 5 million now. I'm not going to sell
4
it.
years down the road.
Yeah, 2020.
2020. So 4 years
Funny
down
thing is, the BC government announced on that day, we will be having a lockdown. And I was writing a cash offer on the commercial property.
Okay.
Because I knew it's going to be temporary. Just like interest rates are temporary. Eventually it's going to go. Everybody knows
what leases do you have in there? Like you said, it's commercial.
So there is a accountant in there.
Okay.
There's a physiotherapist. There's a chiropractor. There's some counseling. And bunch of other small tenants in there. Like,
well, so to your point, I mean, that might be a niche in itself, right? Like even if people work from home, that's more for like the larger office buildings. Like we still see some vacancies, right across the major cities in North America, period. We see vacancies, but that is more for the big office spaces, right?
Yes.
What I like I like your tenants, there's like physiotherapists and you have counseling and you have accountants. Those guys and gals
still needed it. And you buy the properties of the history of the tenants going to be, since how long they're running the businesses there. If they're locked, unlike residential, you can break it and go anytime, even though those investors think I have a 1 year term. BC especially, I don't know about Ontario.
Yeah.
Rules are towards tenants. So
100%. That's the same here. Yeah.
And they can
with
break
residential.
With residential.
Exactly.
They can break the lease anytime.
Yes.
And walk away.
Yep.
We can't do anything. Whereas in commercial, they have their personal guarantees in there. If they break the lease of 5 years, in 2 years, you can foreclosure their properties.
Yep.
As long as there's no mutual understanding agreement, okay, it happens. Business slows down, business can close out.
Yeah.
I have said to the tenant saying, Mr. Tenant, I understand there's 2 year term left. You're having a problem. Things can go sideways. But listen, we are business is a business. There's no emotion attached when we're doing the business. I will market the place. As soon as I lease, you can go out. It takes me 6 months to lease the place to the new tenant. You go after 6 months. If it takes me 2 years, you have to stay here for 2 full years.
And here in Ontario, and I think it's similar in BC as well, like if the tenant stops paying, you can change those locks when it comes to commercial.
You can change your locks.
Which is huge.
Foreclosure their properties because there's a personal guarantees in there. 9 or 10 times there's a personal guarantees. Make sure when you're buying something, make sure that's why I said leases are important. Whether they put the personal covenant in there that you can foreclosure their houses. They're not going to let that happen. So this is a safe bet. That's why I love commercial in some. The only challenge is it's expensive. You have to come up with a lot of down payments.
And so that was going to be my next question. There has to be some type of downside to it. Or like what is something that you've seen either personally yourself where you hit your head against the wall or you've seen some of your clients make mistakes when investing into a commercial kind of investment that the viewers and listeners can stray away from?
Other than the down payment, honestly, I don't see any flaw in
so it's the purchase price.
Purchase price.
And it's not going to be 20% down. Is it going to be closer to 30 to 35?
Depending on the cap rate.
Got it.
Okay, so on average in Surrey, nowadays the cap rate is about 4%.
Okay.
So you will be paying 30 to 35% down payment.
Yep.
If there's about 5% cap rate, you have to pay about 25. No matter how big the cap rate is.
Yeah.
The cap rate is basically the rent you're going to be coming on basis. So commercial is going to be, if it is more than 5%, then you put 25% down. So no matter, I was going to come to the point, was saying it, 25% no matter how much the cap is.
Okay.
You have to put minimum 25% down.
Yep.
Unless you are a professional, like professional means dentist, physiotherapist, somebody, and you're putting your corporate guarantee in there. Then you can take a leverage on it.
Yep.
You can get 90%, 100% financing, even on your investment properties.
Right.
On commercial. Commercial, it doesn't show on your credit. It's nothing to do with your personal income.
Well, that's the big one there, right?
Yes.
Especially if you want to, when you're scaling up.
Yes.
I mean, they're looking at the rental income that's
rental
coming
income is coming.
Yeah.
And that's why would I on the earth, I will sell that. That is my retirement plan.
Yeah.
I will keep doing it. But I'm 43.
Yeah.
By 60, I'm thinking I'm going to retire. Or kind of a semi-retire.
I think you're just saying that. I don't think that's going to actually happen. Yeah.
Not selling real estate actively.
Yeah,
Put it this way.
yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do it.
Right.
Slowly, one property at a time.
Right.
I'm going to do it.
Now, but you can also just, essentially, if you didn't refinance them, and going back to what I said earlier, like if there's somebody who's listening and they're like, I just don't want to do all that refinancing and handling all those tenants. Look, once the place is paid off, you can just eat off of the rental income.
Yeah. Positive cash flow.
Like, right? Like, I mean,
Everything is
what's
cash.
wrong with, if it's residential, I mean, obviously on your commercial, I think you said, what's your rental income right now on that plaza?
It's about 16,000.
Okay. I was going to say 16,000. I mean, imagine just living off 16,000. I mean,
And
that's
just
a nice,
there are a
cool,
lot of people in Surrey
Yeah.
who are doing this already. Their properties have been paid because they did that 20 years ago.
yes.
So I learned from them. I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Somebody has to start from somewhere. Now everybody says, oh, properties have been gone up so much. Same thing was 20 years ago. When they purchased it for $500,000, the 20 years ago, $500,000 was also a lot. 1 million was a lot of money at that time. But you have to be visionary again.
People
long-term.
forget that, right? Like if you look back, when I got licensed 20 years ago, the average prices were approximately $250,000 to $300,000.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money.
Yes.
And people are like, that's crazy. And I still remember, like, once I got the ability to go on MLS, I remember just looking at, searching a condo downtown Toronto facing south. So, which is like facing the lake on the 35th floor or something like that. Right. And I was like, oh, I wonder how much this is. And it was $449,000. And, I was around 23 years old at that time. And I was like, holy shit. Like, what does this person do who owns this $449,000 condo? Like, this is crazy. That's so much money. You know what I mean? Our parking in downtown Toronto is $150,000 today. Like, that's what a parking spot in downtown Toronto is right now. You know what I mean? Back then, it was $25,000. Like, when we were selling new condos, a parking spot was $25,000. What am I trying to get across here? Is the fact that no matter what, it always seems like a lot at that time. But when you look backwards, you just need to give it some time. You will thank yourself because you actually took action.
Action on it. Don't just sit and think about it. As a realtor, a lot of people must have asked you, because it's a simple question they ask buyers always. When should I buy?
Yeah.
I always tell them whenever you're ready.
That's
the best time to buy, when you are ready.
Yeah. And to even add to that, what I start to say, when people say, is it a good time to buy? I always answer them with a question. Can you tell me when it's a bad time to own real estate?
Yes. As long as you have a long-term plan.
Exactly. 100%.
That's how point the whole is.
Yeah, because I'm not talking to anybody anyways when it comes to them wanting to day trade real estate.
Exactly.
So I get a lot of calls like here, like, hey, Jas, can you help me find a property that I can flip? I'm like, look, I'm not your guy. I'm not like, full transparency. You can probably win. Like, you can do some stuff, do the renos, add a story. It's just, I'm not that guy. I'm such a boring, lazy investor. I just want to buy something, J.O., rent it out. Yes, I will do the refi because I have the stomach for it physically and like mentally I'm ready for it. But there's been times where I have a couple of properties I've never even refied. I'm like, I just don't need to. I'll just let it keep on renting out, right? So I always say, look, if to your point, as long as you're long-term, and I think, that's essentially, it's safe to say that's been the theme of this podcast today, is like really, really bringing it home to people to understand, like, real estate, long-term as an investor. And as a real estate agent, you got to think of your business from a long-term perspective, which kind of takes us to the next, place I want to talk to you about. And what I want to talk to you about is, why did you decide, like, agent? Like I know you told me off air really quickly, like, you used to be in the hospitality industry and then you kind of shifted into real estate. How did that happen?
So I was running a restaurant business.
Yeah.
Before started from journey, I came 2008. Was working as a server on a worker visa, and then I got my permanent residency in 2010. I moved to Kelowna. Kelowna is a place close.
I've never been, but I've heard
been like
beautiful.
three. Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Small town.
Yeah.
I went there because expenses will be low. I got married, and then I said, okay, let's go to the town.
Yeah.
Where there's less expenses and can explore the Canada at the same time. I wanted to work out of my own community because Surrey was dominant with my own community. I wanted to learn Canadian culture because I was new at that time.
Smart move.
So I moved there, worked there for 2 years, then moved back to Surrey, came across with the opportunity of opening up a restaurant, opened it, doing very well with the restaurant. Started from the scratch,
What kind of restaurant?
Indian restaurant.
Nice.
Owner started from the scratch, means like it was only $2,000 a month sales.
Okay.
To take it to almost $100,000 a month.
Wow.
Sale, and I was making around 6 figures.
Best butter chicken, best study chicken. Like, what
Everything.
was it?
I was
like
very
the best
good
goat
chef.
study. Like
Yeah.
I'm a you know goat guy
So-
myself. So
So what the challenge I was facing at that time was, in restaurant industry, the manpower, the labor shortage, utility, especially dishwashers, servers keep coming rotation, and too much of a headache. Cooks, and I was feeling like my growth has stopped now. I was making about $10,000 give or take a month. I said my growth has stopped. What can I do? To grow myself, I have to open up multiple locations. I'm already having a shortage of one. How I'm going to grow? Then I said, okay, let me think about something which is one-man army. So if I lose, I blame myself, not put anybody else. And I'm not saying just for sake of on the camera saying it. It was just a fluke.
Yeah.
I thought about it. No strategy, nothing. No experience about sales. Never done a sales in my life. Never done it.
And it's funny
till
that you
then.
say that, but like being in the restaurant
Yes.
industry,
I knew it
You were in
because-
obviously the service industry, but you had the makings of it. Like, you
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like I could see it from the outside because you're not going to have customers come and return to the restaurant if you weren't nice to them. And
Exactly.
that in actuality
thing.
is sales.
Yeah,
anyways.
built up the
Continue.
relationship with
Yeah,
them. So
yeah.
2016.
I get what you're saying though. Like you didn't have actual sales experience.
Sales experience,
Yeah, I
never
get it.
sold any cars
Yep.
or anything
Yep.
for matter,
Yep.
even cell phones, nothing.
Nothing.
Never done the sales.
Yeah.
I don't like sales.
You didn't
Till
do
date.
newspapers,
No,
none of that stuff.
None
Got
of
it.
them.
Yeah.
Okay. Till date, I haven't done a sale because I built up a relationship with my clients. And that's what my whole business plan is.
Yeah.
Built up a relation, be myself in their shoes, tell them what is right or wrong, whatever the knowledge I have, it basis on the whatever knowledge I gained in the past 8 years, share with them.
Mm-hmm.
Tell my experiences, what mistakes I did it, how I learned it. You should not do it as an investor or a buyer, a first time buyer or a seller. Is it a good time to sell it or not? It's not that about my commissions. Is it a good time or sell? Is it good for you to sell it? What's your strategy will be? Why you want to sell it is all. So that's how the whole thing has worked. So now it is being amazing. So which is being blessed.
So something myself and my business partner in the coaching company, Laura Stewart, speak about a lot to real estate professionals, agents, and mortgage brokers is the importance of putting on events, like educational events. I've done now for my real estate clients and for my real estate professionals, somewhere upwards of like 674 events. Like I'm obsessed with them. It's done really well for me in the 20 years that I've been in the business. And you just finished your first event.
Yes.
And I saw some pictures of it. I'm not sure if I saw a video, but I think I might have. But I know I saw some pictures of after you completed it. You and I touched base a little bit, maybe a week or 10 days before you were doing it. How was all that? Because I got a lot of real estate professionals that are going to be watching
amazing.
this, buddy.
It was amazing. First time
better
experience.
better than you thought. Like
Hands
were you
down.
scared? Like take us back a
100%
little. Got it.
scared.
What were you scared about? Not people not showing up.
Showing up,
Ah, okay,
being
it's the number one
failure
thing.
in this, which was I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was having this from my 1 year. My marketing team, credit goes to them. They were pushing me from last 1 year.
Yeah.
Do it, just do it. I said no. What if nobody shows up there? I not wanted to be there, just standing and talking to my marketing team about my real estate strategies. What if it?
Yeah.
Then as you mentioned, I follow you from a long time. Okay, your seminars, I've seen it. I've seen people who are in this industry, they're giving back to the community, they keep teaching them. And I have to do this. I have to come up with this, out of this fear. What if I fail? What if I fail? I fail. That's it. I will see it when it comes. To my surprise, first of all, I put up a money for registration, not to make money on it. It was small money, 30 bucks.
I think that was a good idea. Yeah.
Just to see the intent of the person who's going to show up.
Yeah.
And moreover, a lot of people, when it's free, everybody will be registering it. And I have to book the place according to the registration.
Yep.
So I said, okay, it will get backfire if I'm having 100 people showing on the registration, but only 10 people show up because it's free.
And what did
They
you
forget.
book? Where did you do this?
It was a Civic Hotel.
Okay.
I did it in Surrey Central.
Okay.
Okay.
So you booked a hotel conference.
Conference room for 100 people.
Love it.
First time doing it, no experience now how to do it.
Yep.
But I knew it. I'm going to be just keeping it as I am, just real, whatever I know. So I put out some videos. It sold in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, actually, to be precise, 12 days. We sold out 100 tickets.
And you talked about your stories,
Yes.
case studies about investing into real
Investing,
estate.
like whatever I have done it in last 8 years, how I've done, how I've created my portfolio. I've given them the real examples.
Yeah.
My addresses, my properties,
it.
my mortgages,
I love it.
everything.
Yeah.
Whatever I know it, my companies, because of the privacy, I can't share my hundreds of clients which I've helped it in last 8 years.
Obviously, yep.
But I could share my own.
Yep.
No holding back on that side. So I said, this is what it is. Shared my story, how I started, and then shared the whole thing. It was 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we will be.
Did you want to go less, and then it just kind of like you like the sound of your own voice? You just kept on going.
No, I
Or
planned
did
it
you plan
for 2 hours.
Good job.
For 2
Good
hours
job.
only.
And
I
you
didn't want people to get bored about it.
What was it? You up there just speaking the whole time?
Whole time without
Amazing.
drinking water, nothing,
Love.
and no script.
Love it.
No script because I was initially I thought, okay, I should go with the script.
Got it.
I was not able to get the flow.
Yeah.
I said, okay,
Yeah.
screw the idea of scripts.
Yeah.
I will be just real who I am. And I'm talking about the thing I'm best at. I feel like I'm best at.
Well, and it would be funny, right? Like if I can,
Because I'm talking about real estate.
you're talking about not only real estate, which you are, which you know really well, but you're also talking about your own properties.
Yes.
And so you don't really need a script for that.
Exactly.
Like just tell us the story. You know what I mean? It would almost be weird if you did use a
It
script.
was a projector, 100 people sitting there, seeing my real properties, how I flipped it, how much money I made it.
That's awesome.
Some of the mistakes I did it,
Yeah.
what lessons I learned it from that.
Yeah.
These are the properties I could have made more than what I made it. These are the mistakes I did it. So everybody, and we will be putting out the video very soon. My team is editing it. It's in the process. You will see
Good.
the testimonials. Every person came in, I said, this is amazing. Because as I said, no holding back. And I said it in the stage also, that was my opening lines.
Yeah.
You will know by the end of this seminar, whatever I've learned in 8 years.
That's
no
awesome.
holding back.
That's
you will be as good
awesome.
as me. So you will be knowing everything what I know.
Jay, like you don't know right now how many people you just inspired, especially our real estate professional viewers and listeners, because so many of them, buddy, I get to speak to offline, online, and they're so fearful of putting on that event. And just hearing you go through that process, having 100 people show up, and I always tell my guys and gals in terms of the ones that we're coaching, like, look, even if 10 people show up, it's actually great, because imagine you had to speak to those 10 people individually. It would take 10, 15 hours, if you know, like maybe even 20 hours, 2 hours at a time. What you did is that you did essentially a consultation with 100 people in 2 hours.
2 hours, that's
you
it.
just can't beat that.
You can't.
know?
And now I know it. And the amount of response I got it. My initial plan is to do one seminar in a year. I love it. So many people came to me to buy the tickets.
Yeah.
I couldn't offer them because it was not available. I said, okay, let's do it every 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing it. Maybe if I will do once a month.
I think
I'm
you
gonna
should be doing, I think if I can make a suggestion, brother, you should be doing for a year at the start, and then next year you can pump out like one a year. So I do one a year. During COVID, we did every other weekend as a webinar.
Okay.
But the 4 that you do in the year, I actually think you do 2 in person and 2 webinars.
2 webinars.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then this way you don't have to have all the logistics around getting a place
Yes.
and worrying about all that. But then here's the big one. The reason I want you to do 2 webinars, because my people in Toronto can hear it. You know what I'm saying? They're not
Yes.
coming to Vancouver for like a 2-hour event. And so why not open it up to the rest of the country?
for sure.
Right? And then you can run some ads to
Love
it.
the
You can,
idea.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you go,
Webinar in
we do
there.
2 webinars and we do 2 in person.
Yes.
And you do, the in-person one is going to play out like the last one that just played out.
Yeah,
for
and
you.
it's
So-
easy now for the agents out there to say it's just first time is difficult. I could have done few things better. Still feel like it.
sure.
And now I know it how to do it.
Yes.
How to present it. I could rather me talking for the 2 full hours.
Yeah.
I could give it to some of my team members because we could cover more topics. I didn't cover first time buyers.
Yep.
Because I wanted to cover on the investment side.
Yep.
My whole portfolio was towards investments. But there's so many other people in there in the hall which could have understand, okay, because they are in first time buyers. Challenge for me was me, the person who's speaking.
Yep.
And I had 2 hours only. I didn't want people to get bored.
Yeah, and go for 7 hours or something.
It's
Like
too long.
You know, I did a 12-hour marathon on a webinar once. I went on for 12 hours, and I obviously didn't do it all by myself, but I hosted the 12 hours. And 6 months ago, I did a 5-hour one. And so I get it. People do get bored, but the people that stay, you know that it's really good.
It's really good.
Another suggestion I'll make in terms of for the next time, you can also open it up to like a panel. Right? Like you can have experts that talk about pre-construction. You can have
That's what I'm
experts,
gonna do.
Right?
Yes.
You have experts that talk about how to invest your registered funds. I know that's
Exactly.
something that you're going to start helping your
Yes.
clients with, right? Like you can really open it up, and then you don't have to do all the heavy lifting.
Exactly.
I think where again, looking from the outside in, and you and I are going to get obviously closer and closer. We're building a relationship with each other. And so what I see is that you come in and do those case studies. Like that's, I think, your juice, you know, like, because you have them. That's different than myself, even, because I don't have case studies in and around investing in commercial plazas, right? And so you have something that a lot of people don't have, and that's where I think you're going to draw in people with their real life stories, and then you don't have to waste your energy on first time home buying, pre-construction, registered funds,
because
and
you
all that
can't
stuff.
you can't do everything, and that and it's more engaging too. I feel like people will see
100%.
different faces. They're not getting
I
bored
was about
just
to say, like,
seeing my face.
you have a good smile, but we don't want to see it all day long.
Yeah,
you know what
we
I
don't
mean?
want
And
it.
hear your voice all day
exactly.
long, right? So
we
you
could
get to
make
kind of mix it up,
right?
and
And
so I
that's
think
what we're gonna. That's a good idea. Actually, you put it, bringing different people, and maybe we will try to do the next one.
Yeah.
We'll bring it on a larger scale. Bring in person also, the one which I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Probably close to end of the year. We can discuss about it, and we should. I'll strategize it.
Yeah.
Bring.
Oh,
it
I got
more-
your next
more
webinar
professionals.
already lined up. Like I already know
perfect.
what you're doing, who you're doing it with. I'm going to give you the guest. I have it all lined up for you.
Amazing.
And then I have your other 3 topics as well. And then there's one actually that you could do as a 5th one, or just your 4th one that's in person, where I think you're going to win big time. Is just have all your other service providers there. So like your plumbers, your electricians, your stagers and all that. And the reason you want to do that one, Jo, is because what happens is that Clyde the plumber meets Bo the electrician. And then they also meet Laura the stager and Simos the painter, right? And then what happens is that when they meet each other, they connect, but they don't forget who connected them, which was you. And then you become the cool kid in high school that threw all the house parties. You get what I'm saying?
I understood it.
And then over time, Clyde the plumber's like, oh shoot, I also want to think about investing into real estate. But that one you don't do as an educational event. That's just everybody shake hands and meet each other kind of event. It works really, really well for us. I've probably done that like 20 times in the 20
I'll
years.
pick your brain on that one. after the
100%. I got
podcast.
67 topics for you.
Amazing.
That's not a big deal.
That would be a good thing.
I got to be honest with you, and I got to say something on air to you, my man. And I didn't say this off air. Is that about 5 years ago when I started doing content, I looked over to my business partner and I said to her, I was like, you know, we're starting this now, but there will be a day that people come in and fly to see us. And she said, what are you talking about? I was like, look, I think if we have the intent of putting out positive, inspiring, educational, informative content, we will attract our tribe. Now, I can't be that entertaining in terms of making jokes. I'm not that guy. And you can go to a lot of places to get that. But I do think that I bring some energy to the table. I do know what I'm talking about. I have a passion around sales. And you flew in from Vancouver just to come see me.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how much that means to me, because the boy from Rexdale had a dream and you made it come true. And one thing I will say to you on air, I won't let you down, because I know I have a crew behind me as well, and with me and beside me, that we won't let you down. So I really appreciate you coming down, bro.
Jas, and I will also say that one thing on the camera too is going to be on air is I'm watching your content, not watching, I would say it. I'm just absorbing everything what you have it since last 4 years. And I'll tell you, I'm very heavy on content producing. Okay. I feel like I'm one of the best, if not the best in my area, Surrey side, on social media. And hands down, your content is amazing. I have stolen some of your content too. Okay. Putting it on.
You haven't stolen it because I've told you to take it, but yes. Thank you.
But point is, like,
Continue.
I'm watching it and saying to my team, I wanted to be doing what he's seeing. And I just didn't come here for the sake of this podcast, by the way, was never planned. It was never planned.
Oh.
He said to me this yesterday evening, hey, we're going to do the podcast too. I said, sure. By all means, my flight is in the evening. I just come fly here is because I wanted to meet him in person. I wanted to learn from him. He's been in this business for so long. I know it that you have done it and you're real. We both come across with hundreds of thousands of people we meet because of the profession we have it. And I know a lot of people who are gimmicking. You needless to say that you will let me down. I already know it. You're never going to let me down. The moment you said it, yes, I'll meet it. I'll book a ticket. I said, done.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
coming.
awesome.
That's
awesome.
what it is.
And you
Half
got to
of
meet
my-
all the team.
Half of my team doesn't even know why I was flying to Toronto. Okay,
That's awesome.
they have no idea because it came success on spontaneously, and I've learned it from other people that if you wanted to, I can call you as my mentor. Feel like word would be, if I wanted to be like you, brother, I want to grab any opportunity comes to me to meet you in person because I know you're a busy man.
Yeah.
And I don't wanted you to waste your it's very difficult to get hold of you. So I wanted to make sure. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
I appreciate
and thanks for
it.
giving me the opportunity.
100%, brother.
One more thing I will say you, and honestly, this was more than a dream come true. I will say it, not exaggerating it, coming on your podcast.
That means a
because
lot.
I watched your podcast and started my own podcast.
That's fucking awesome.
Okay.
I love
I've
that.
seen your so much content. If you tell me, I know everything about you, brother. You had the chairs at the back, the same wall. You had it before too. It was a different sofa setting.
Yeah.
Then you turn into a tables. I used to take a screenshot of it.
I blame
selling
Bo and Clyde on that. They're always
it.
changing shit
no,
around.
but it's amazing. I've seen the growth also, how you changing things. I said, okay, yeah, this is good. All your guests coming in there, I know it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing being amazing. You have done a podcast with Grad Cardone. I'm sharing the same platform here.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
It's
for me.
awesome, buddy.
No,
It's awesome.
thank
Look,
you.
man, we got a lot of shit going in the future that we're going to be doing
100%.
together for my real estate agent viewership and listenership. You got to go follow this guy. Do what he's doing in terms of watching for the clues and just picking them up along the way. And I know I can speak for him is that if you like a piece of content that he's doing, do your take on it. I mean, success leaves clues. And for my real estate clients, you're going to be meeting J.O. a lot more because if you're looking into buying, investing, or selling in the Vancouver area, this is going to be my guy because as you know, he knows his shit when it comes to investing into real estate in Vancouver. My man, thank you very much. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
We're
Jas.
going to do
Thanks for giving me this
round 2.
opportunity.
Maybe I'll come to
100%.
Vancouver and we'll do it in your studio
That would be
as well.
That would be great, brother.
Awesome, brother.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All
Take
right,
care.
guys. As always, share this with one friend. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
If you found that episode valuable and you want to watch more of the Jas Takhar podcast, click here. If you want to see more videos in general, click here.